This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Also sponsored by GCals, producing aftermarket replacement decals and custom quality graphics for your favorite spaceships. Visit www.gcals.company.site and add some personalization to your sci-fi models today. What's up, fellow modelers? Will here. Welcome to Modeling from the Ensign's Chair. I wasn't really planning on doing a build series on the Eaglemoss's Build the Enterprise D series, but I'm still waiting on parts for the 1350 Bird of Prey build, and I'm getting ready to start. And then I'm also in the process of still printing out parts for the Big Bird of Prey build that I'm doing. So I don't really have anything on my table at the moment except a bunch of Bird of Prey parts that are still printing out. And really, I've been watching the World of Wayne's build videos, and they're great build videos. And I think I've looked at, I think Retro Tech Ralph has a build series going to, and I know there's a couple others, but those are the two main ones I've been looking at, and been watching their progress. And they're really great build videos, so I really don't have any plan to getting into the detail that they've gotten into with their builds. Really, my only reason for doing this on video is because there's some things that I plan to do differently, and there's just some things that I kind of want to talk about, because I know there's some people that are hesitant to do this model because, one, it's very expensive. It's not cheap at all. I think by the time I'm done with this, it's going to be, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000, something like that. I can't remember the price, but it's pretty expensive over the period of time. And plus, there's the weight. I'm up to, I've got pack 30 or build 30 or 52. I'm sorry, 52 is what I'm at right now. That's what I've gotten, and 53 through 56 or 57 is on the way to me now. I should have it next week. So I'm almost at the halfway point. I think there's like 132 kits or something like that in this build, and I should already be halfway, but there was about a 2 or 3 month period where I didn't receive any kits because Eaglemoss had a shortage of supply or something, and I just don't have all the kits yet that I should have. So, but anyway, I think I'm close enough to really kind of start doing something with it. I'm going to do it a bit differently. These are kind of hopefully going to be short videos, because like I said, I'm not going to go into depth like World of Wayne has done with his videos. He's really in depth with it. And if you want to see how to build this the way it's supposed to be built, definitely watch his or Retro Tech Ralph's builds. I'm not going to be building this the way that the booklet says to build it. Mainly because one benefit of waiting and watching other people's builds is to see what the problems are they're running into with stuff, and what I would like to see done differently. So I'm actually going to be going with the resin window route, which is, I think World of Wayne just did a video on it. He's actually going back and gutting all of his to do resin windows, because if you've watched any of my builds, you know I like flush windows on my models. I don't like the recessed windows, or the fact that in some of these I've seen from watching other build videos that they actually stick out some from the model. I don't like that look. If I'm going to put that kind of money into this model, I want it to look good. And I just don't think that it's there with what Eaglemoss has put out. And now, don't get me wrong, the detail on it's really nice, but there are some shortcomings. Even in this picture, when you look at it, you can see that the windows aren't, let me see if you can make that out, but you can see the windows aren't even. They're sticking out from the hull, and there's a couple spots when I've tested out some of these windows that I've got on my desk right now, they're recessed. They're not flush. I like flush windows, so I'm going to go the resin window route. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to go over that. And the other thing is too, there's some inaccuracies, and you know, if you've watched my Enterprise C build, I talked about a lot of the inaccuracies with the model from AMT. But you're talking about a model when it originally came out probably cost you 30 bucks, maybe. Now they're expensive because they're hard to find, but so you can kind of accept some of the inaccuracies. But with this model, the amount of money that people are paying for this model, there's some inaccuracies that you would expect they did a better job of covering. So I'm going to talk about some of the accuracies and inaccuracies. I don't know if I'll catch them all, but I'm going to try. So bear with me. Give me a minute. I'm going to put you on the bench and we'll get to work on this. All right, so here we go. So this is pack 1. Now, I don't think they're packing them like this anymore. They were doing these kind of vacuum formed plastic packaging on it to start out, and then by the time you get to I got the stage 5, now they're all packaged in this kind of clear. This one's still got a little bit of vacuum form, but even when you get a little bit further past this, it's all just pretty much just plastic. This plastic packing now. So this kind of falls away real quick as far as the way they got this packed. But at any rate, I'll take that off, and looking at some of the parts here, the first thing they have you putting together is, I guess this would be kind of part of the bridge or the B and C deck. But let's talk about some of the issues that I noticed first off with this. So looking at the, start at the top and work our way down. So looking at the bridge, let me focus this in a little bit. So the bridge is just, it's really not very accurate. The shape is kind of off. There's some detail missing that really at this size of a model could have been included. There's some parts over here that are missing, and overall it's flat. Whereas the studio model, it's more, I guess you could call it, say it's bulbous. I don't know if that's the correct term, but that's what it makes me think of when I look at it, as kind of, you know, a plant bulb that's kind of cut in half that sits on top, and where, you know, it's got a little bit of a curve to it, and this is just really flat. There's no curvature to it at all. And as everybody, you know, everybody in their videos has pointed out, it's missing the bridge dome light that should be there. So that's an easy fix. And just to let you know, a lot of the alterations I'm going to be doing to this, I am going by I think it's, let me make sure I got the website right. I think it's myenterprised.com. And I tried to find out the name of the person behind that website, and if anybody knows, please let me know, because I really want to give credit. But he's done an excellent job of going over the alterations, and he actually lists on the website all the different modifications to make to this so far. And one of the modifications is to use the screwdriver here. Hang on, I got to bring my camera back up. I can't see now. One of the modifications is to drill this out and fill it in with, people have used different things. They've used, excuse me, they've used UV resin, they've used the micro crystal clear. So I'm probably going to use UV resin to fill this in, just because I'm familiar with using it, and I like how it looks after it's done. So plus it's what I'm going to be using for all the other windows, so I kind of want to stay the same as much as possible with what I'm using on these. So the first thing to do is going to be to attach this to the deck here, and then we'll drill a hole through this using drill bits. But you don't want to just jump straight up to the maximum size possible for that. So I've got my Dremel drill bit set here. So I'll start with the smallest and work my way up. And I think the final size for this is a 3mm, but this 1/8 looks like it should be pretty close. I'll find out when I get there, and I'll let you know if it's got to be a little bit bigger or not. But I'm going to use this. I'm going to work my way up in size to get that that window, that little ceiling window, drilled out, and we'll get this attached. Because when I want to get this attached first, because when we drill it out, we're going to need to drill through the bottom of this part here, so light will get up in there. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to do that. Give me a minute, and we'll come back and take a look at the final result. All right, so here's the part attached in that first alteration made, and you can see the clear dome on there now. Now that 1/8, I think it was a 1/8 inch drill bit, was just a little bit undersized, so I had to come in with my hobby knife and just trim just the slightest amount off because it wasn't quite full. So I'm not metric fluent in my tool department here, so so unfortunately I had to do a little bit of extra work, but I think a 3mm drill bit is probably going to be right about where you need to be. So anyway, got it drilled, got it filled in with my UV resin that I use here, and I got this off of Amazon. If you haven't seen any of my other builds before, this is the UV resin I use. It's a decorum, however it's supposed to be pronounced, but I get it off of Amazon. So not my store. I don't have my own store, and I don't plan to open my own store. But you can find that stuff on Amazon and probably some other websites. But it's worked pretty well for me. It's inexpensive. You can get that big bottle for a lot less than you would pay for some of the other resins. And I've never had a problem with it curing properly. I've got a UV flashlight here that I cure it with. So I'll put the link for that in the video notes below in case anybody wants to get some of this stuff. But at any rate, so that's filled in. And now the other thing to do to this is some people have used, I think World of Wayne, I think he just used like a yellow felt marker or something, and other people use other stuff. But I've got my yellow, to me clear yellow here, X24, and all I'm going to do to color this is I'm going to color it from the underside, because when I look at the studio images, the outside is definitely looks transparent. It doesn't look yellow. So at any rate, I've got that colored in from the inside, so when I backlight that, once I get this together, you won't see much of the yellow from the outside until it's lit up. Obviously right now, because you're getting the ambient light behind it, let me see if I can cover this up. You can still see some of the yellow even if I put my finger behind it. But anyway, I think that'll turn out well. It's colored now. The other issue with this is that there is supposed to be a strobe behind this bridge dome. And the problem with the way that they did this, they didn't really, this is, like I said, this is supposed to be more of a curve to it. And because this is just a straight drop off on the back, it doesn't leave a lot of room to put that strobe on the back here. But I think there's just enough room for me to use my 1/32 inch drill bit to maybe drill a hole and fit an SMD back here for that strobe, because that's missing from the kit altogether. So that's the other thing I need to do to this real quick in order for this to be done and at least a little bit closer to being accurate. And I don't plan to separate my model, so I will probably just get the Enterprise D control board for the lighting from Tena Controls and use that to use that to control the lighting on this. And I don't plan to separate my model, even though it's capable of it. My thought is, unless I come up with another idea, is to just have this all wired together as one unit. So we'll see when we get there. It would be nice to be able to do, I've seen people do rechargeable batteries in the saucer section, so you could separate them, and then when you separate them, the power runs off of those rechargeable batteries, and then when you reconnect it, it recharges those batteries. So that would be pretty cool to do. I don't know how to do that yet, so if anybody's got a link to how to do that, please post it in the comments below and let me know, because I would be interested in considering doing something like that. But at any rate, we'll see. But that's that part for now. I'm going to use my 1/32 drill bit and hopefully be able to drill a hole behind this bridge dome in this narrow section here without totally screwing it up. So let me do that, and we'll come back and see if I was successful. All right, so I got that hole drilled and SMD in place in the back there where that strobe needs to be. There's just barely enough room to drill a 1/32 hole there for the SMD to fit. And if you watch my other builds, 1/32 is a perfect size for that SMD to just slide into place so it's not sticking up too much. I don't know if you can see. I did put some UV resin in there. It's not going to be easy to see. Just to give it the slightest bulge there. And I've got a I think it's a 1000 ohm resistor on the back here. And I don't know if that's what I'll use in the end, but I know a 1000 ohm resistor won't blow out my SMD, so that's what I put on there for now. But get this powered up. And you can see how that's going to light. And I think 1000 ohms is probably going to be pretty good for that. So you can see, try to simulate somewhat. I'm not doing a very good job, but you see how that's going to light up back there and provide that strobe effect that's supposed to be behind the bridge. So I don't, right now my plans are not to make my model able to separate. That depends on what I come across as I build this. I have seen people do models, not this model, but other models with, and the way this one is supposed to operate is it's got batteries that operate it independently. But I've seen people do the smaller 1400 Enterprise D and wire it up to where when it's connected, it's running off your 9-volt power supply, and then when you separate it, it's got rechargeable batteries in the dish, so that when you separate it, it then switches to running off those batteries. I'm gonna have to see if I can figure out how people have done that. If anybody has any links to share with that, please share them in the notes below, because I would like to be able to consider doing something like that and still be able to keep this to where it can separate. Then I've got to figure out how I'm going to work the control board as far as controlling the strobes and keeping them synchronized. So I don't know, one step at a time. That's what I've gotten done on this so far. It's definitely at least a little bit closer to what the studio model should be. Now the other thing I need to do to this is I need to fill these windows in with UV resin. I've got UV tape on order so that I can put UV tape over the front of this and then backfill it with UV resin. And that won't get here till next week. So I won't do anything else to this right now. And like I said, I'm just trying to keep these episodes kind of short anyway. But I did want to mention too that this part here, the bridge, where it sits in this piece here, it sits too far back. I noticed that when I was looking at this, but when you look at images of the studio model, and then that ring goes around here, the back of the bridge, or the back of, I don't know if this is the BC deck or whatever, but I haven't looked at my diagrams to see if this is the BC deck or this is the BC deck. I don't know. But at any rate, this section here shouldn't be sitting this far back. This back part where the briefing room windows are at shouldn't be touching where this ring goes around here. This should be sitting further forward. It's almost the same issue you have with the 1350 refit kit, where the bridge sits back too far. It should be further forward. Now this is the same thing with this. This should not be touching this gray ring back here. It should sit more forward. You should have a bit of a deck behind this before it gets to this gray ring here. So that's one inaccuracy. That's another inaccuracy on this this model kit so far, and I'm calling it a model kit because it's basically what it is at this point. But at any rate, that sits back too far. So that's another inaccuracy with this kit already, just in stage one. So at any rate, that's probably going to do it for this episode. Like I said, I want to keep these short, and I think I'm already up to like 15 minutes on this or so. But when I get the UV tape in later this week, I'll look at starting to fill in these windows and these ones, and then we'll talk about these. I think these are exhaust vents or something. We'll talk about that too in the next episode. So at any rate, guys, like I said, I wasn't really planning on doing a full build series on this, and I'm not going to get too in depth with everything. I'm pretty much going to do it and then come back and show you what I did in this series, because like I said, there's plenty of other videos out there that go step by step into how to do this build. So at any rate, guys, I appreciate you watching. Again, subscribers, thank you so much. Appreciate all your support. And if you have any feedback on this model, like I said, if you have any links to share as far as how to do it to where this would the saucer section be able to separate and still keep power, please share those below and let me know. But at any rate, guys, Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Till next time, keep modeling.